And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
All right.
Great. Hey, hi. Welcome to Rage Ranting. You'll know what the name means later on. Tim, this is Christopher. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be reviewing 30 Days a Night for Halloween this year. And it's going to be an ongoing thing where we're going to be reviewing a comic book movie from A to Z every week or two, depending how it goes, starting with 30 Days a Night.
He has a huge collection, so there's going to be a lot of reviews, most likely.
Hopefully.
So.
And he's sitting there, he's got his little drink. I got my robe, got my drink, my clipboard, looking nice and important. Sitting down in my mother-in-law's basement.
Your mother-in-law's basement.
Yeah. It's not. She cooks. Thanks, Nana. My mother. Wish you could see it. Hey, Ma. Sorry you can't see this. You're dead. Been dead for 12 years, so we're going to be reviewing this movie. So, you ready to go?
So, like you said, 30 Days of Night. If you haven't seen it, it's free on Peacock and Paramount Plus. So, go watch it. Come back. Director of this movie apparently directed Twilight, one of the Twilight Saga films, Eclipse. It came out the same year as the sequel to this movie as well. And I don't know if he directed the sequel to this because it didn't show up on his list of films.
What a fucking difference.
I don't know if it's a coincidence. Maybe he made both movies, but I don't know if he made the sequel to this movie.
What did you think of the movie?
Did we enjoy watching the movie? Yeah, I would say I enjoyed watching the movie. It was pretty fun.
I enjoyed it, not as much as before. I saw it like a few times before, a couple of years ago. For me, it didn't hold up as well as I thought it did before.
As well as in, like, the vibe of the movie or, like, the effects and stuff.
No, not that.
Because that can mean multiple, too.
No, not
multiple
that.
Things.
No, not that. The fact that it didn't hold up I think I was more invested in the movie before. This time around, I noticed this movie, well, they run around a lot for no fucking reason. Why? There's a part where they're in a supermarket holding up. And for some reason, they run here, they run there, run fucking everywhere, just to die one by one, which is fucking stupid.
I know, the movie wasn't really, like, it wasn't very slow, but at the same time, it wasn't like a popcorn movie, like one of the Godzilla
like Chuck Norris's
films
fucking movies, that piece of shit. If you don't know by now, you're gonna know soon. I hate fucking Chuck Norris.
But yeah, it wasn't a super slow movie. It wasn't a super slow movie, but it had its slow moments to build tension and stuff. Yeah, the attic scenes are pretty, like, them just running around. That was a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah.
Where they went to the grocery store, they ran into the little kid, or in the attic when they heard the vampire running on the roof and stuff.
Beginning of the movie was fucking great. It started out great. Whole atmosphere of the movie, like where it's just a normal night in Alaska, where it's 30 days a night.
You have this small town,
yeah,
and
just
bad stuff is happening before it gets
creepy
dark.
as hell. And then, like, most of the movie is just them running from spot to spot to spot. There's no story, just running spot to spot.
There's no like main objective.
Yeah.
They don't have a main goal besides just to survive.
I still liked it, just not as fucking much.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, it is what it is. I liked it before. It's not as much. Anyway, you comfy? You nice and comfy now?
Yeah, I'm comfy.
We're gonna keep that party.
Okay.
Nice and comfy.
Okay.
Maybe we should get your Nana down here and do a review with us one day.
I mean,
do people like to see that? I would love to get her down here. That ain't gonna happen though. She's got osteoporosis.
yeah, I'm not believing that in.
Alright, so moving on. What do you think of the acting in the movie?
Acting was pretty solid. I think we can both agree there was like one scene, a couple of scenes, mainly the scene with the kid.
I'm done playing with this one. You wanna play with me now?
They really couldn't think of any other line to give this little girl besides, "Do you want to play with me?" I thought it was super cringy.
Oh my god.
It's just a little kid, to be fair. But, like, I think that's a writing problem. I think that's the most generic thing they could have gave
That
it.
is the most cringe fucking scene in this movie.
It wasn't
like Chuck
great.
Norris, all his fucking movies. Because that guy, he doesn't know how to fucking act with his fucking ginger beard and everything else. Chuck, if you're watching, you prick, I'm still waiting for that fucking response to me challenge you to a fight, you piece of shit. Alright, anyway.
The lead actor, I think he was
I loved
solid.
him.
He was pretty solid.
You know who he reminded me of a little bit?
What?
When you could see he got angry. He reminded me of your uncle. Like when he was getting pissed. Like his acting in the movie, like especially where you hear the desperation in his voice when he finally finds out something's going on in the town. Where he's like, he's gasping while he's yelling at the guy in the prison. Like he can't breathe while he's yelling. And I liked him.
The vampires themselves didn't really have like a lot of emotional scenes or whatever. The people who played the vampires did a very good job. Oh, especially, completely forgetting about this guy.
What?
The guy, the weird guy that they threw in jail.
He was awesome.
He was amazing.
He was awesome. He was creepy as hell.
That moment when the lead actor was face to face with him in the jail cell after he got shot, and his mouth was getting all frothy and stuff, and he was like just like spitting his words. That was a really good scene from him.
He was.
That was pretty good. I didn't think about him until just now, but yeah, he did pretty good.
What do you think about some of the vampire actors?
The lead vampire, I think he did a pretty good job. He had some drip too.
He looked like he should have been walking around with a fucking martini.
I know his clothes.
This just made you hate him more.
No, the thing is, like, why are his clothes are so clean? Like, he was not doing anything.
Come on, you couldn't picture that man with a fucking martini killing people, walking around taking
martini,
taking a fucking sip while you kill. There's one that looks like fucking Danny Tanner, Bob Saget with a fucking mullet.
I thought he looked more like an anorexic Adam Driver.
Oh, all right.
Just with the hair though.
The main vampire has a main squeeze. Spoilers: she's killed, and like you can tell he's pissed that he lost his putang because he has this look in his eye like he's fucking pissed.
To him,
Let me ask you a question. What would you think if Chuck Norris was one of the vampires?
Be the scariest one, probably.
Fucking piece of shit.
He'd be the scariest one.
Side note: that kid, a little too late. Friggin', he would have been an awesome Jimmy fucking Olsen.
Oh, curly hair kid.
Yeah. Side note: I don't know any of the names of the actors. Pretending like we know all about the director or the actors, we don't know. Same thing. I'm like, nothing against the other channels that do this shit. A lot of the side characters didn't really mean much either. One person in particular that there should have never been in this fucking movie. There's one old woman there for the whole time. Does she survive? I think she survived.
She survived to the end. She has like 2 words.
She had no fucking point in the movie. Why are you still there? There were other people in the movie that could have fucking survived, yet this woman had no part in it. She has like a little Scully hat. Why are you still there? You have no point in being there. I'm like the old man with dementia. By the way, what the fuck happened?
Oh yeah, he just dipped.
I liked him.
The father, or the grandpa, or whatever the hell he was. I think it was the father, that one guy that died. The father with dementia, Alzheimer's, probably both. He disappeared after running away. He literally just disappeared. He never showed up once again.
They should have had an end credit scene where he's just wandering through the fucking snow somewhere.
He just disappears.
You just see him wandering
through
the snow looking for his dead wife.
How many beers have you poured?
I get drunk off of 2 beers.
A half of one, maybe. Sound and score and stuff. The sound effects are alright. The first half of the movie, first quarter of the movie, the vampires are going around murdering everybody. The first massive, like, town is being slaughtered sequence.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell there's a few, like, stock sounds, like the man yelling, woman screaming sound that you've heard in, like, a million, like, literally every other movie uses. There wasn't really a whole lot of interesting sound design. The music, they didn't really focus on it.
The music was hit or miss.
Very end of the movie, there was a dramatic soundtrack when he turns himself into a vampire and goes into the battle.
I like that part.
And then the side characters are looking out the windows, there's some music playing.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those movies where it's like, score is just non-existent. Like, they didn't really, you could tell they didn't really give a shit too much. Such a, like, it was an afterthought, essentially.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to recognize what movie it was from if you heard it. You wouldn't.
I think Twilight probably had a better score than this movie.
Yeah, I hear their fucking score every time I'm in the car. My wife driving around and the fucking, what's that song?
Like Taylor Swift song
yeah,
or some shit?
something. I don't know what it is. Every
know.
fucking time I'm in the car, I hear fucking 1,000 years, 1,000. That bullshit.
I don't know any Taylor Swift songs.
What'd you think of the cinematography?
Well, I guess it's probably the same with the score. They definitely had a bit more of thought over the cinematography.
Yeah.
I think the action scenes were pretty well, like, you could tell what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's good for action sequences. And there were definitely a few moments at the beginning where you can tell they were trying to be artsy with it. You could tell, like, this is a small town.
Yeah. It wasn't the most gorgeous cinematography, but it had its moments with the color.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before?
The color grading and stuff,
God.
and the filters.
I thought that
the
was
sunset
beautiful.
looked alright, and the lighting before, like when the sun was coming down.
Yeah.
To begin
when they're
the 30
driving,
days of night.
when they're driving along the road,
it made it pretty creepy.
Oh, God.
It felt like something was coming because, like, it just had this orangey yellow vibe to it. It felt like.
Do you remember Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, I remember Dawn of the Dead.
It kind of had a little bit of vibe of that with the color thing.
The entire
it was
film,
a totally different color, but it had like reminded me of everyday tone. Like you see, look at the sky; it's like a dark gray in the winter.
Dawn of the Dead.
That.
Before she gets to the mall in Dawn of the Dead, when she's just in her house, I love that. I remember there being like
the
gray,
ground wet and everything.
Yeah, there was like a gray orangey like. I feel
green
like
is green too.
It was like really like the entire film was like really grainy. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's just like an old movie movie.
I
but...
fucking love that. And this one had that like color grading, like had like a bluish gray. Wasn't the best, but it had its moments.
When the lady was getting dragged under the kennel or whatever the hell that building was on stilts, you could not see under that building. But they had lights around everywhere so you could tell what's going on. The scene still felt dark, but at the same time, they made it so there's a complete blanket of shadows underneath the building. So as soon as she got dragged under, you couldn't see shit. You couldn't see the vampire. You couldn't see her. They did a good job with the lighting underneath there and stuff.
The part where the little girl's walking through the street by herself. That was probably my favorite part of the movie. That part is what got me hooked, with the little girl crying for help in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
The shot of her like walking.
Where it's just
herself.
like her in the middle of the road and she's coming towards the camera. Yeah, that was good.
And there were a couple other shots. Like there was one shot had like an overhead view of everyone getting shot.
Oh,
another part. It reminded me of Dawn of the Dead, where you see the car driving and shit, where they're all getting shot over the place. See blood stains.
I remember
all over
what
the
you were talking
snow.
about. Yeah, it was like a bird's eye shot moving through the
that
town as the vampires were slaughtered.
Just like see the blood everywhere.
This was towards the first the first half of the movie when everybody was getting slaughtered. Everybody's dying. So I could appreciate that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a cool shot. In case you didn't know, spoilers. You should have already seen the fucking movie by now.
We told you to watch the movie.
Overall thoughts on the movie. What do you think about it? And I'll give you my thought after.
I'm not gonna give it like a something out of 10 rating, but...
Who's up there?
Hey,
what?
the mouse just ran on the mom's couch.
We have a mouse that just ran under your mother's couch. Do you need me?
No.
Okay.
What if it's the same mouse and he just came back in?
No, I got rid of that
No,
one.
what if... That's what I'm saying. What if he came back in?
How?
What if
He got stuck on the... We're going totally off the movie. He got
doesn't
stuck on the sticky board. He was upside down, yelling for help.
You took him off this... Where did you put it? Like outside?
I just threw it in the...
It's probably... I feel so bad. He's probably dead.
Well, it was either that or your aunt's method. She wanted to just stomp the shit out of him.
Oh my God,
I'm not like that, folks.
Preserve.
All right, can we do...
I'm sorry. Okay. Overall thoughts. I thought the movie was solid. It wasn't the best horror movie you're ever gonna see.
No.
But like as vampires and like it's a vampire movie. As vampire movies go, vampire movies have horrible reputations. So this one's definitely pretty solid.
As far as I know, I haven't researched anything. This was all practical.
It was...
It looked like it was all practical effects. There were a couple shaky cams with a little girl. It was a shaky cam. It kind of looked like... I know it wasn't clay. I don't think it... There's no way in hell it could have been claymation, but the way she was moving looked almost like claymation.
I guarantee you the only things that were CGI...
I don't know how that was done.
Yeah, if there were any CGI in this movie, it was either for some blood effects...
Yeah.
Or like some snow, or like a horizon setting, backdrops, that kind of stuff.
Speaking of the fucking blood.
What?
The scene, some of the fucking blood scenes. Some of the scenes are fucking horrible. The main character in the movie, like, he was either weak as hell from his asthma. What the hell? He couldn't cut a head off to save his fucking life. You got the guy's fucking head dangling down.
I know, it took him like 30 like swings to chop his head off. Either the axe was dull as shit.
I was laughing.
Like, the axe must have been really dull, or maybe he was just having an off
Does
day.
Alaska not have fucking sharp weapons?
They don't have trees to chop.
What are you people doing up there? Some of the scenes in the movie were like fucking gruesome. I'm like, even some of the movies today, you don't see that much gore.
This movie, like, the gore is pretty...
Awesome.
Like, it was good, but it's also, at the same time, like, pretty minimal.
Would you be afraid of this?
Back then, probably, if I was a kid, yeah. But...
It has its spooky parts. Has its atmosphere where it's like creepy, but
I feel like if you're watching,
I'm fucking grown man. Nothing's gonna scare me.
If you're like desensitized to the point where like you can literally you feel comfortable watching literally anything, you don't really give a shit, then you're not gonna be scared. There's not a lot of tension. The fear comes in from
the fact you try to put yourself in the movie and what would you do if you were there, because it has the atmosphere. What would I do if this happened to me? And that's where the scare factor comes in. The scene where the man's talking in the jail cell. Scare factor in this movie creeps on you. It comes and goes.
0 being literally the shittiest movie of all time. 10 being probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like
before I even go there, I'm gonna say I like it less now than when I watched. I think I watched it maybe 5 to 10 times in my whole life.
How do you feel like you would
now,
rate it?
I like it less now because like I notice how there's really no story from like the beginning to end. It's just them running around the fucking town.
Yeah.
The fucking old man was hilarious.
The guy with dementia.
Like I said, I wish he would have been fucking in a post-credit scene wandering somewhere.
Looking for his wife or something. Yeah. If you're
back
gonna
in
stick
the day,
to solid numbers.
Every video I'm gonna give you 2 ratings: a back in the day review and a right now review.
Like how you remember it to now, like rewatch.
Back back in the day, it probably would have been an 8. Right now, it probably would have been a 7. It's a good movie. So that's our review of 30 Days a Night. Can you find it on?
Well, if you decided to watch us yap about the movie,
Yeah, yep.
and didn't watch the movie yet, like
Chuck
I said,
Norris watched us. Frick.
probably. The movie is free on Peacock and Paramount Plus. Well, it's not free, but you know what I mean. You have to pay for the subscription.
Our next review, 30 Days a Night.
Dark Days,
Dark
I think
Days.
it's called. Yeah.
That's the one we're going to be doing next, A through Z. It's going to take a fucking while, but
See you next time.
see ya.